Hello friends, Stacy Anfinson here with the final TAR report market update for 2025. We're going to look at what happened through the month of November of this year. So let's dig in and see what happened. Inventory, that's kind of been the theme throughout this year. We have inventory increases. You've noticed the national press has been on that, and that's a fact. There's nothing we can do to actually we complained for inventory. We said, give me inventory, give me inventory. So the market has given us inventory. So if you look at the teal line, which is the total end of month inventory, and the baby blue or the dark blue line, that's resale end of month inventory. The far right is 2025 November, and then the far left is 2006 November. You can see that both end of month and resale inventory are about, total is about 6x what it was compared to 2021. It's amazing to see that number, 1,674 listings on the market at the end of the month. But if you go all the way back to November of 2006, you can see that the total inventory is down 35% compared to that metric, and resale inventory is down 32% compared to that metric. So we got a long ways to go before actually we have to double our inventory to kind of catch up to where we were 19 years ago. So increased inventory provides challenges for sellers. Yes, it does. So this, instead of looking at November's through the year, we're looking at each month during this year. The teal bar on the left is the percentage of inventory with at least one price drop. The dark blue bar is the percentage of inventory that's been on the market for longer than the average days on market for the sold listings. And then the green line is the percent of listings that go to expired and withdrawn. And you can really see that there's an upward trend in each of those metrics from January to November, and that's purely a reaction to increased inventory. And I think I view that as a positive sign. I don't necessarily view the increase in percentage expired and withdrawn as a positive. Those are really, really stubborn sellers, but the market has to adjust, and sellers have to adjust. And if they did not drop the price, then you'd have a stuck market, and that's no good. So while the national press really jumps on the price dropping sellers metric, I find that as a positive. So that also flows into the new home market. We've talked about this. I've written about this a bunch. Here are the top 5 postal codes in their cities with new construction listings as of December 16th, where the new home builders have dropped their price at least one time. So 27703 in Durham, which is kind of the epicenter for new construction in that side of the county, 59% have had at least one price drop. And the usual suspects for Wake County, Wake Forest, Garner, Clayton's in Johnson County, Wendell, 53% in Wake Forest, 57% in Garner, 46% in Clayton, 36% in Wendell. And as I've spoken about this numerous times, if you have a resale listing within those, you really have to make your seller aware of the level of price dropping. And remember that when new home builders want to drop the price, they'll keep dropping it until they find a buyer. And if the resale seller does not react to that, then they're going to wind up in that expired or withdrawn listings. And we certainly don't want that to happen. Closed sales, it's one of those things. If you look at where we were in November of 2025 versus November of 2021, you want to look at the market that way. We're down 39%. But if you look at it since 2006, we're only down 4% compared to the 19-year average, about 1,932 closed listings in November average for the 4 main counties. So it really is a kind of a normalized market. And if you were to take the outliers out there, COVID, we're never going to see that again, hopefully. And so you can see what happens when free money is in there from it just really skews things. So as erratic as November market is, I'm going to take the number of closings in November as a positive. Average days on market. Once again, the national press is freaking out about this. If you look at 2021, which was the low of 23, now we're at 56. That's 2x. And like, oh my gosh, it's taking houses forever to sell. But if you were to draw a trend line across this, once again, we're still below where that would be, which is probably between 70 and 80 days. Go back to the post-recession days of 2011 and 2012, 156 and 131. Those are just kind of crazy things. So the neat thing about go back to 2006 is we've had 2 things that hopefully won't ever happen again. We've had the Great Recession, and we've had COVID. And both of those produced, Great Recession produced total adversity in the market. And then COVID produced unbelievable price gains and reactions from buyers and sellers. Well, hey, November months of housing supply, going back to 2006, once again, the recession numbers were all over supply. We're at 4 months. This is the first time we've had a balanced month of supply in November since 11 of 2014. So it's been a long, long time. And that's kind of what market analysts like me really like is a balanced market, because then the buyer and the seller are really acting under they have the same deck of cards in their hands versus an unbalanced market, either favoring the buyer or the seller. Average resale sales price, just once again, this is a problem. It's not a problem. Look, if you bought your house in 2019, just on average, you're up 75%. So that's great for the seller. It's not necessarily great for the buyer. But I would look at the last 3 years. The November average resale sales price is only up 2% compared to where we were in November of 23. So we're starting to see some price stability. That's absolutely related to the increased amount of inventory. But once again, going back to these COVID metrics, 306 back in November of 2019 compared to 537.4. Those are eye-popping increases. So our November monthly principal and interest payment, if you look at where we've been for the past 3 Novembers, it's actually down this month, 8% compared to where it was in 2023. That was the gift of lower mortgage interest rates this year. Nobody really predicted that they would happen. And so beneficiary of that, if you've got fairly stable house price metrics and you've got mortgage rates going down, well, your monthly P&I is going to go down. But once again, if you look at what it is in 2025 compared to what it was in 2019, that's 2x compared to what it was, and that just feeds into the affordability narrative and how challenging it is for a lot of buyers. So everybody wants their crystal ball as to what's going to happen in 2026, and I always lead off with sellers will sell houses and buyers will buy houses. So every other prediction is just throwing stuff up in the air, and maybe you're right, maybe you're not right. These are the things I like to think that we should find important, or try and find out what's going to happen. Will there be a continuance of upward inventory trends? Will increased inventory produce lower house prices? There's a lot of discounting going on in the new home market, and those are essentially going to become the comparables. And so when they replenish the inventory, what level are they going to be at? I think that's going to be a really key one, because new construction is really, really important in our market. And if new home builders have had to drop prices 5, 10, 15, 20% in some areas, what are you going to replenish that new inventory? Remember, they're discounting it because they don't have a buyer for it. So it doesn't mean that because you're discounting it that all of a sudden you're going to go back to where it was. If you didn't have a buyer this year, what makes you think you're going to have a buyer next year? So really, really curious to see what that's going to be. Always put mortgage rates in there, up, down, or stable. If you made a mortgage prediction last year, you were probably wrong because they went down. And then number 5, will months of housing supply remain at a balanced market? So once again, season for all. I give you a little Isaiah 7:14 to go with. Merry Christmas. I thank you so much for all your support for TAR reports and watching the YouTube videos and market analysis and all the stuff that I've been very blessed to do for now pushing 35 years. So thank you for the opportunity to present my findings to you. If you like what you see, there's my contact information. Subscribe to TAR report, give me the like up button. And so Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you again next year.